Okay, so we are now live on YouTube.
All right, welcome everybody. So this is our April General Council meeting. Let's see here. So yeah, we can just go ahead and jump into it. We've got some new members that have been approved by the Mayor and Commission. So yeah, welcome Ernie Cox, Patrick Perry, and Holly Campbell. Y'all were approved on April 6th. That's awesome. All right, so let's go move into housekeeping. Let's see. We got all our, do we have a quorum? Looks like we do.
We do.
Perfect. Okay, well, really just one action item right now. So I'll make the motion. Well, I guess, has everybody had a chance to review the previous meeting minutes? Okay, perfect. Any comments from any revisions, anything like that? Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward.
I'll move that they be approved.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor? All right. So the council approves the minutes. Let's go ahead and move into the treasurer's report. Pam, what you got?
I emailed the report to you yesterday, so you should all have had a chance to look at it. We had an expense of $25 for Cy for a gift card to go with the award for the Green Life. And there is one check outstanding to pay for those two awards at $40 each. So that payment has gone out, but it didn't show up yet in the balance. There was a deposit made on March 26th. Rodney, I can't remember if you made that one or if I did. Did you make it? For a donation. Do we need to write a thank you note for that?
Apparently we don't.
Okay, that's fine. So that's the only things that have been going. Nothing, we haven't had any new donations on the PayPal account yet. And I am trying to get our Square account renewed so that we can maybe take credit card payments through the website, but I have not yet completed that. So that's still sitting on my computer, waiting for me to have time to work on it. So otherwise, things look good.
Awesome. That's good news. I don't know that there is any action or voting items in terms of the CTC business. So let's go ahead and move into the all right, still waiting on volunteers for educational shorts. If anybody has any expertise in a particular subject and would like to give a 5-minute presentation,
I could do something. I could do something on Tree ID.
Okay, that would be great.
When are these?
So it'd be next month's council meeting. So that would be, let's see, May 10th would be the next one.
Okay. Just, you said 5 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah, something like that.
Wow, that'd be brief.
Yeah.
I could come up with something fun though.
Awesome. I think that'll be our first one since did Seth do one last? Is that right? So yeah, thanks, Holly. We look forward to hearing that.
These would be great to put on our website too.
Oh, that's a
Full education.
good idea.
I mean, they've been real high quality, I think.
That's a fantastic idea.
I can grab a screen recording of the next one and put it on the website. That won't be a problem.
Okay. That's perfect.
In fairness to Holly, 5 minutes to deal with tree identification is pretty tough, though. You might do a stump the chump. But hey, I'd be happy to hear whatever you have to say about it, Holly, for sure.
Yeah, it might be one species, but well.
We could make it like a 15-minute thing if that's better. Would that give you a little bit more to work with?
I mean, I could do the topic a lot more justice in 15 minutes, but it would be kind of interesting challenge to do something in 5 minutes.
Well, we'll leave it up to you. If you want to challenge yourself and do 5, that's fine. But yeah, I think we could probably get away with a 15-minute presentation as well. I think Seth's went probably 15 minutes, didn't he? So,
it's whatever y'all want to do. I'll make it work.
Okay. Let's do 15.
Yeah, I think we need to do that.
Wiggle room. Yeah. All right, that's awesome. So let's see. So the next item I have is the moon tree sign. I guess Jeannie, do you want to do an update on that?
Yep. I saw on the agenda here it says it was installed. The only thing we have installed thus far is the post. I actually have the sign here.
Oh, awesome.
It turned out really nice. I'm very happy with it. I have a phone conversation tomorrow morning with the gentleman with the Historical Society. They wanted to be involved with some type of they're calling it a ceremony, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't have a date or anything. What I'll do is I'll just shoot you an email if anybody else would like to attend that or be part of it. It's not going to be wasn't intended to be a grand event, but just something to commemorate with the moon tree there and the reestablishment of the sign.
That is so cool. That is awesome. Yeah, probably think I speak for everybody when say Tree Council would love to be
good. And I do apologize about the short notice about installing the stake. I apologize about that. We were just trying to get everything taken care of. We just started cutting grass on a regular basis last week, so we're just trying to wrap everything up. So I apologize for that.
No worries. No worries.
Can I just say I led a field trip out there last week to see the moon trees, and we enjoyed the post. We pretended there was a sign there.
Please don't impale yourself upon it.
It's a virtual world now.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true. Speaking of
Gina.
virtual, does the sign have a QR code or anything?
No, it does not.
That's fine. People can use their eyes and read the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. And they actually, as Lee said, she was already out there, and we were actually able to get it in the island with the tree.
Okay.
I'm afraid with future construction, not knowing exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen, that it may have been damaged, but we were able to get it in the island at the tree itself.
That's
great. That's really cool. Well, yeah. Just let us know, and we'll be there.
Okay,
that's
perfect.
Really
Thanks.
So, I guess I kind of stole Sean's thunder here a little bit with our introductions, but Sean, you want to take the reins for the new member interview work group? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. So we're pleased to announce that Ernie, Patrick, and Holly are official members of the CTC. They were officially adopted or voted in the last Mayor and Commission meeting. So here. Glad to officially have you on board, guys.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. You guys have any grand statements? Happy to be here, kind of things.
I said thank you, so I'll say thank you very much. It's a little more grand.
That's great. Right. Well, we're super excited to have you on board. We really have a great group of passionate and energetic board members right now. Super excited to be part of this. Glad you are too.
Yeah, I agree with that, Sean. I'm really impressed with the quality of folks we have on the council right now. This is a really exciting time to be on the tree council. So yeah, everybody just keep up the good work, and I think we're going to accomplish a lot of cool, great things. Yeah, thank you, Sean. Let's go ahead and move to the Trees for Tomorrow work group. Phil, I will let you take it away.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. It's fairly self-explanatory what you have in the agenda there. I have begun repotting the trees that own themselves, seedlings, now saplings, and it's going well. Mary Attaway was kind enough to give me and to help round up some pots, but I don't have enough yet. I have just in the last 15-20 minutes gotten several responses from members with suggestions about where I might get some, or with offers of some that they may or may not have. Seth mentioned that he thought they might have some 10-gallon ones. He knew he had some 18-gallon ones, and that would be really nice. The only problem is it requires more potting soil. The larger the pot, the more soil you have to purchase. So we'll work that out. But if you come across, I would say 7 gallons at minimum, the nursery measure of a 7-gallon pot would be desirable, so that we don't have to keep moving them every 2 or 3 months. That would be handy. So just contact me if you have some or know where some are, or have further information about that. Pam, I may be getting with you at some point to get a check for some potting soil. I hope that that's not something that we need to vote on, but if it is, we can take that up too. Sure. There was some discussion about the amount that the trees might be sold for if we sold them outright versus giving them as gifts for donors. And I think what was settled on was that a minimum donation of $50 would get you 1 seedling / sapling. So that, I think, has already been established, and that's where that is. I have them here at my house, and you just need to let me know if there's an official need for 1 or more, and we'll make arrangements to get the delivery taken care of. Thank you, folks, for your help on that. And that's all.
For potting medium, I emailed, I have a friend, David Hosch, who runs Dragonfly Farms, and he has mountains of really well-aged, clean compost. Is that useful, or would that be, because we can go out and get a truckload for free?
Mary, I saw that, and I meant to respond to you. I apologize that I didn't.
Okay.
I decided that maybe I had better stick with something that had some slow release fertilizer already added to it, and a medium rather than an actual soil. The compost, we might want to take advantage of that at some point when we're top dressing or mulching the trees at some of our plantings that we've already done, or for backfill at Rock Springs. But I'll talk to you about that later. But thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, I saw that flurry of emails come in right before the meeting. So yeah, I think there's some good ideas in there. Go ahead, Mary Attaway here.
She had to take her daughter to an appointment, so she couldn't make it.
Gotcha. Okay. Edith, would you be so kind as to step in for Mary today and maybe do a little grants and fundraising work group update?
I'll do my best. We had talked about the REI letter, and it's probably too soon to get a response from them. We're basically asking them if we can apply for a grant. So I haven't gotten a response. And Rodney, you were the other person listed as a contact. Have you heard anything?
I have not.
Your address was legit and mine wasn't, so I thought we'd better list you as a contact.
Okay, that's fine. I'm typically a contact for the chief council.
Okay. And probably I'd use your name on other applications as well. And then Pam, you're listed for the tax ID number. Your address is listed. But I'll be primary contact, or Mary would be.
That's fine.
We'd keep you apprised of any applications made, so you're not wondering why are these people, contacting me about this particular thing. I did send an email to Todd Stevenson about grant opportunities. Excuse me, there were two. Actually, there were a couple of foundations like Coca-Cola, Georgia Power. Well, those were the two that focused on water quality. Perhaps we could do a joint application with them. I don't know who in their department works on grants, but we've asked that question. Then we're also looking at opportunity zones. Excuse me, because several of the foundations focused on that: State Farm, UPS, and Synovus. The one we need to pay, excuse me, it's allergy. The one we need to pay the most attention to, I think, is Synovus. The application period's coming up July 1st through September 15th. And then I was wondering, does anyone out there have a PDF of a grant that's been done already that we could use as an outline? That would be very helpful to me.
Yeah, I know we went after Synovus grant probably a year or two ago. Can't remember who worked on that one. Probably Stacy and Mary.
I think it was Nina. If anyone would have that, I would think Nina.
Right. Oh, you're right. You're right.
We have that. We have the grant that Mary and I submitted last month. Was it last month?
Yes.
I don't even know anymore. But I mean, I guess there's some information in there that might be helpful, Edith, but it was really kind of specific to the Athens Housing Authority project. So it might not be as good as the Synovus outline. And I'll gonna look right now because I think I do have I might have a copy of that Nina did. So let me see.
I think, and I always find examples really helpful, even if we kind of put a different spin on them.
Myung might have been working behind the scenes on that as well. She's no longer on the council, but if she's still around, she might have some information.
Okay. And then we talked about the opportunity zones. And other than the Firefly Trail, I'm wondering, do we have anything going on anywhere that we could name as a goal for neighborhoods where there's maybe not been the resources available that other neighborhoods have had, say disadvantaged neighborhoods?
Yeah, I saw that. That's a really interesting kind of overlay map there. I was actually going to, Aaron, did you have a chance to see that opportunity zones map that was sent out?
No, sorry. It's been a crazy day.
I hear you. Well, yeah, I think the council could probably lean on your expertise too. Kind of you and Rodney in tandem, maybe there's kind of some cool stuff going on there that Edith, maybe you can reach out to Aaron, and I think Aaron's work with the county would definitely lend some good guidance maybe on that one. But yeah, that's a really neat map there. I think it'd be useful. So
certainly
definitely use that to identify some I think that's been our biggest hiccup really, is like we kind of leaned on the fireflies so much, and then all that right away was pretty much already dedicated, and we got kind of bumped out of it. So yeah, those opportunity zones. Phil, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say, certainly those Athens Housing Authority communities fit the bill for that, I think. And while we've served them using the UPS grant in the past, there are other neighborhoods, and there's no reason that we couldn't seek a different type of grant for some of those communities to further plant. That's a hot topic right now with the environmental or economic injustice issues, and the temperatures and all the quality of life issues that go on with that, and trees. Probably a good place.
The Land Trust is doing some work along those lines, and doing a lot of exploratory information gathering. And Edith, I sent you there's also these great maps called energy burden maps, and they actually overlap a lot with the opportunity zones.
I looked at the one map, yeah.
Yeah, between those two overlays, there's probably areas that, that we could work on when we get, if we get the grant, and all that. And the Land Trust would probably be a good resource as far as helping us find a spot. I think the Housing Authority would work as well, but if we were spreading it out a little bit and getting out of the public housing into other areas of need, they have a lot of contacts.
Yeah, okay.
That's a great point. Yeah. Yeah, I think we should definitely try and make friends of the Land Trust. Maybe invite them to the next meeting, or invite them to the next grants fundraising work group meeting next week.
Nakima, who works for them, I think he's the garden manager. I'm not sure what else he does, probably tons of things, but I have wanted him to come. I want to court him to be on the tree council because he would be amazing. And so I would love to invite them and see if we can get Tawana to send Nakima, because it would be really great.
Is this someone with the Land Trust, you said?
Mm-hmm. He works for the Land Trust.
Do we have any direct connections with the Habitat folks? Are they building houses, and might that be a possibility, one lot at a time type?
That's a great idea.
And that's an easy outreach. I think that Habitat, the director of Habitat, would love to do that. And they're working with like the energy burden maps and the low income weatherization. Both Habitat and Land Trust are working on that, and trees will fall under that kind of helping lessen the impact.
Right.
I'll be glad to follow up on that.
That's a good idea, I think.
Who's the director of the Habitat again? I forget his name. I want to blank on it. He's a fairly influential person, I believe.
Yeah, he ran for mayor a few years ago, I think.
Spencer Fry, state representative.
That's it.
Yeah, so Spencer Fry is the director, but the manager of the David, I can't think. He's been on. He's participated in the community advisory board stuff, and he's sort of the workhorse over there. Spencer does plenty of work, but he's big ideas, and I think David does more logistics. So, but it's on their website, all that contact info.
Okay.
Rodney, how are we doing invitations to the council meetings, not as a YouTube viewer, but like as a person on the Zoom call? It used to be we could just invite them to the planning department and they'd sit in the room with us, but how would we handle that now?
So the YouTube link is the way for people to be able to, oh, I misunderstood. Yeah, just get me someone's email address and I can add them to the invitation list.
Okay.
It's really just that simple.
Hey,
Well, yeah.
I just found the grant, so I'm going to forward it to you and Mary, and maybe Mary too, the State Farm grant.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect. Edith, you got your hands full there. How's your committee doing workload wise? Do you need more volunteers?
Oh, we always need more volunteers.
All right. Well, we got 3 new folks. Anybody feel like stepping? It looks like the grants committee is really y'all are going full-fledged, really doing a lot of work. So yeah. Anybody want to jump in on that?
Researchers, even if someone's never written a grant before, there's just a lot of little details to be followed up on. It's kind of fun, like a scavenger hunt.
What'd you say, Patrick?
I'd like to help with that, Edith.
Good. Okay.
Awesome.
I don't have
Awesome.
much experience with grants, but I'd like to help out as needed, as I can.
Fantastic. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Anybody else feel like jumping on the grants group, getting your hands dirty? Right. Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, and then I guess Mary, if you want to maybe forward those Athens Land Trust and Habitat contacts over, and maybe the 2 of you can work on inviting them to. We could invite them to both. We could do the work groups next week, next Monday, and then we could also do the general council meeting next month as well. But I think, definitely forming those relationships would be, great opportunity. All right. Well, that's great. Edith, you have anything else?
I think that's it for now.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to the Landmark and Champion Trees Work Group. Sean, let you take the reins.
So I'm really excited about the progress we've made. You guys have really been hustling on that. Patrick and Mary and Phil, I think you guys have been teaming up. Nonetheless, nice work. It's really knocking the dust off of the program, and we're excited about that. It's a valuable promotional opportunity for the council and the community as a whole. And I'd love to set up an appointment or a meeting rather, an informal one, to talk shop about, how things are going, any questions or tech questions that we have, figure out, which ones we need to revisit and stuff. And I'll be following up soon on that. Maybe we can do I don't know, informal happy hour or something somewhere next to a champion tree, whatever. But,
and it fits in the schedule. We've been doing Friday afternoon measuring, and the weather's really been very cooperative recently.
Well, that's great. That's
yeah.
Good. So I'll take a look at my schedule for the rest of the month, and we'll put something together. But yeah, thank you for your enthusiasm and support on that. That's exciting.
Y'all have ruined me. Now I drive down the road looking for the tallest. God, I can't go back. They're not just trees anymore. Some of them are champions.
It is addictive. I have just took delivery today of my own DBH tape. So, and I borrowed a clinometer, and everywhere I go, I see big trees now. So be careful.
Exactly. It can be a hazard. Keep one eye on the road.
Sean just identified what he thinks is a national champion water oak in near here. So I'll get the details of that coming up soon. I think he and Mateo, the Winterville arborists, were going to go out and remeasure it, but they think it's a national.
That's awesome. That's
On
exciting.
that note, almost like a game of telephone, I now have people emailing me saying, I think I have a champion tree. And so I dragged Phil out there for a proper ID. And we measured one, and then we went and measured the one on record. And I think that this tree is actually a contender. But Phil and I's measurements are a little bit more like hand grenades. So I told the person, like, this can't happen fast. But Rodney, for you, like, do I go ahead and submit this? And I told her that it's going to take months, that, but yeah, you mean, it's a close measurement. And I think I think it'd be, she's got to treat, give the other one a run for its money. So do you want that now, or should I hold on to it and wait, or what do you want?
Well, it should be measured really well, so get a good solid measurement on it. And is this a champion or a county or a state champion?
I think it would be a county champion.
County champion.
Yeah. It seems like it's a slightly bigger than the original champion. It's a southern red oak. Is that right, Phil? That's right, yeah.
Okay, so we will need a little time to go through the records and to do a comparison. I will not be able to go out until this fall at the soonest. It'll be October, November before I'm able to make it out there.
Well, that's fine, because in the meantime, one of the owners is ordering fertilizer and watering schedule, and so there's a real competition going on out there.
Good, that's good. Good stuff.
All right. That's great. That is, yeah, I love the enthusiasm. I love that, you guys have just run with this idea and it's happening fast. It's awesome. Sean, I like your idea too of kind of doing a follow-up technical standards kind of meeting. I know that you guys have run into some more technically precise questions in terms of methodology. So I think this would be a good opportunity to go over some of those kind of more in-depth questions as well. I know there's some talk of sending out the measurement standards. Has that been done?
Rodney, are those included somewhere? Did you share those yet? If so, I'm
yes, I have sent them out to a couple different people. I thought someone was going to post them on a Google Drive or something.
All right.
But if you need another copy, I can send you another copy.
Would you mind? My inbox.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think that'll help alleviate some of these, more in-depth questions on measurements and things like that. Yeah.
And we do have a client that actually has a national champion tree as well, another one. So that's exciting. Just across the street from your work, Rodney. And that would actually be a good opportunity to meet there if we want to sometime. But anyway, so I think that concludes everything that I have.
Cool. Thank you, Sean. It's great. Let's go ahead and, Sean, you're the chair of everything. I love it. Let's go ahead and move on to the Larry Morris Memorial Planting Work Group. What we got going with that one?
Yeah. So to update everyone, I can't remember if this was established before or since our last meeting, but we are planning on planting some trees in the Kingswood neighborhood along the nature trail. And that happens to be where Larry lived, and his wife still lives, of course. And so we've established a location that would work best. And I thought at first it was private property, but it turns out it's ACC property. That it was in a floodplain, and ACC bought these properties, and they're essentially open spaces. And I posed a question to Rodney earlier today, about seeking permission if we need to in this planting location. I'm just off the top of your head, Rodney, do you have an answer on that, or at least who we need to contact?
I think we do. Jeannie actually looked into this date today for a while, so I'm going to turn the floor over to Jeannie.
Thank you.
I've also talked to some other people about it. Stacy's on here also. I think in the email had mentioned that the Kingswood HOA was doing maintenance or had acquired maintenance to these areas.
So from my understanding, if correct, like any maintenance in terms of like bush hogging was to be done by the Kingswood HOA. I think maybe it's been done, once in half a decade, maybe. But I'm uncertain as to whether it was an obligation or not. I think it was just like, if you guys need to, if you want to use this space, you have to take care of it, kind of thing.
Okay. Stacy, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here. Yep. And Jeannie and I were emailing about this morning, and Carlos Pinto, who may have received some information about this, he's on vacation today and won't be back till tomorrow. And I was out of town last week. So he would be another person that may have some information because he does oversee our Adopt Athens program. And that, so we can kind of go back and see if there is something that's happened with Kingswood. So it's really, that's really no information that I have, except for to say that I might have some information.
Yeah, the only reason I'm bringing that up is, to protect your investment of anything you want to put in there. As you said, it is deeded as a floodplain, and I've checked with planning department, and like you said, there's trails out there, and some people have been maintaining some of the area, but unless it's in writing, I'd hate for something to happen to a planting that you might make.
So Jeannie, are you thinking that is where you're going with this, is it might be a good idea to do it through the Adopt Athens program so that it has parameters and then MOU and that kind of stuff, just in case?
Just to protect them, to protect it.
Which for folks on this call, it's not a challenging process. KCCB just administers all the adopt whatever kind of in our community, adopt a stop, adopt a highway, adopt a stream, that kind of stuff. And so it goes down on record. And that application and agreement goes also to mayor and commission so that they're aware. So it becomes, pretty official, and that's a nice protection, I think. So for folks that aren't aware that
Right. And then my conversations that I had with planning, there's no problem with putting trees out there. There's not a problem with that whatsoever. It's just to protect your interests.
That's awesome, and I love the notion that it would be protected.
And just for future, if for some reason ACC were to sell the property, it is deeded as floodplain, so nobody could build on it. So there'd be no chance of it being removed. It'd be such a slim chance of that.
Right.
But Jeannie, you might be. Oh, I'm sorry, Phil.
No,
I just wanted to kind of throw in there that also in the agreement there is a kind of maintenance plan in the agreement. So it would mean that the CTC, like we would need to agree to a certain amount of maintenance of that tree. So.
I was just going to say the question might be who the MOA was made with, whether it was the Kingswood HOA or the CTC. And the reason I mentioned that, I was alone on the field trip, and the property owner adjacent who owns adjoining property within the floodplain as well, mentioned that the HOA is kind of defunct or inactive at best, I guess. There are no dues and this and that. So it may be difficult to find a person to sign for the HOA, and it might fall to CTC to take on that responsibility. I don't know how that works.
Got it. And so as far as maintenance goes, I happen to live in the neighborhood as well, and as the attendees recognized, it's right along a creek, so super easy to water these trees. Furthermore, we also talked about doing a memorial grove, sort of, or a place that would offer other opportunities for residents or whoever to plant trees. And I think we settled on an oak of some type. Patrick has secured a list. Looks like, Patrick, you're on mute. Maybe he's not talking to us. Anyway, I suggested we do a field trip out there. And I think that sounds awesome. That's not exclusive to just the members of this work group. If you guys want to join, you're certainly welcome. So I haven't established a day for that, but I would say sometime before the end of the month.
This was to the Select Trees.
That's correct. Yeah, sorry, I didn't establish that. But yeah, Patrick learned of a donor program, and which is great. Jesse also suggested purchasing one as a token of appreciation. I think that's a great idea as well. Also, another opportunity to use saplings. Great idea, Phil. I think that came from you. And Joe and Holly, you've got some trees to boot. So I think we have a lot of. We're going to be busy.
Good.
Hey, Sean, so just a point of clarification for me. So are you thinking that the applicant be the CTC? Because as Phil was saying, the Kingswood Neighborhood Association is not active? Or would you be representing the Neighborhood Association? Or like, what route are you wanting to go?
I was thinking it would be the CTC being the applicant, and I'd be glad to be the lead person on that.
Yeah, I just was trying to get some clarification. Okay.
And it is, in honor of especially considering it's in honor of Larry and the former board members. So I think that would be appropriate. A lot of cool things. Things are really coming together pretty quickly on that, and we're excited about that. I know Sue, his wife, is very honored and thankful we're working on this.
Sean, I can go ahead and send you the application so you can kind of get an idea of what's all involved in it.
Awesome, thanks.
That sounds great. Yeah, I like the Adopt Athens idea. Does that come with some type of signage designation or anything like that? Do y'all know?
Okay, so there is the opportunity to place a sign if the adoptee would like to. There's 3 different sizes, or we have some groups who have chosen not to. So it really just depends. It does say it's got the Adopt Athens logo on it, and which is a nice simple design. I think it's just like a hand with a leaf. And then what happens is there's that sign, and then underneath is the adoptee organization's name. And I'm Sean, I'll go ahead and send you what that looks like too. Just gonna send you everything.
Sounds great. I like that. Yeah, and kind of knock a couple things out at once. I like the required maintenance stipulation actually because it often seems like around Earth Day and Arbor Day we are scrambling for an activity. So this would be a good opportunity for us to go and maintain those grove trees as well. So, another excuse for us to get together and do tree stuff. So that's awesome. I think that's the solution. I guess, Rodney, do we need to make any motions for going through Adopt Athens for this? Or does it matter?
It may be good to put together a motion. I don't think we have to necessarily today, but it would be good to write one up. And also just to clarify the difference, if the concept is for it to become a grove, that should be written into that the application. And a grove site could be helpful as far as fielding calls for people requesting being able to contribute to a memorial grove. So whether or not the tree council would want to make it part of a memorial grove, that's that sort of thing. So definitely give it some thought and draft something so that the tree council can vote on it formally, and then everything's set up for the application and for the mayor and commission.
Okay.
And I think one added detail. I think it would be great to have a plan drawn up. And Joe, Joseph, I don't know if you guys have any input on this, but like to come up with a drawing, I guess, to see kind of what it would look like initially, and with possibilities of future plantings and stuff. So would that be a big deal to once if given the permission to move forward? Could you guys? I don't know if Joseph is here. Joe, what do you think? Is that something you could do?
I could. I don't have AutoCAD anymore. I guess.
You have a pencil though, right?
I do have a pencil.
Sorry.
It's not to scale, but it is a pencil. Yeah, we could definitely examine. We've got quite a few landscape professionals on board here. I don't know, Patrick, what do you think? Do you have AutoCAD on your machine?
Yeah, I run Civil 3D on my machine. Mm-hmm.
Right. Do you think we could draw up like just a little concept drawing, maybe like a Google overlay scaled in CAD, and maybe just trace the pathway and maybe show like conceptually where that grove might go?
Yeah, I think we could probably do something like that. Something we could do.
Something quick and dirty that we could possibly submit with the application, or just kind of keep on file for. Yeah, Lee, you had a question?
Do we want to establish a grove in a floodplain?
Not to pour water on a floodplain, but we went out and took a look at it, and before you do any kind of a concept drawing, you probably ought to as well. Joe, you were there. Most of this site is pretty well captured by tree cover at present, and I don't know if it's an ideal spot for a grove as such. There certainly was an open area with enough opportunity for planting the memorial trees, but we might be hard pressed to I don't know. There's a lot of issues there with
Are we
privet.
talking about out there at Larry Morris's site that we visited? Yeah,
Yes.
I think drawing a plan of an AutoCAD Civil 3D at Grove, I think that might be taking things a little too far out there, because it's kind of we're gonna kind of just kind of field locate this tree best location for the trees. And I mean, I could kind of geo coordinate it a little bit, but there's a lot of work involved in drawing up plans and stuff. It may be easier just to go out there and locate the specific trees, specific areas, because and also the soils. We need to definitely check the soils out there, because there's find the best places.
Yeah, those are good points.
When we do a planning like this, is it something that gets automatically put into the legacy trees and then it's mapped and recorded in that way, so that we would have some of it, or something they would have to do after the fact, we would declare them also legacy?
So there are no longer any legacy trees in the county. The legacy trees that were planted are now part of the landmark tree program. They certainly could be. In what that requires is the owner to make an application, or to complete an application. As the forester, I could distinguish trees as landmark trees, but I would I would scrutinize that at some level. So, for example, since it is a floodplain, you would want floodplain appropriate species and location. So site would matter on that. Site and disbursement and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think the work group has taken that into consideration, have we not? I mean, we've chosen species that are, floodplain appropriate: cherry bark, white oak, I forget what else. I guess maybe to address the concern of having too many in a grove, maybe we just lean on the 3 that we already have in hand. Holly's got one, I've got one, and Phil's got one.
I think it'd be helpful. One thing we could do is going back on to Sean's idea, is after we choose like maybe where we want to plant them in the field, we can GPS coordinate them or something, and we could draw like a little map then showing kind of like where they are. Maybe go on the back end of things, having some kind of a drawing or something.
I think that what Patrick said would help, like as we go out and find the champions, any information, so just making a chain information for the future people that are going to be looking for these trees, it's super helpful.
Using just going on the champion trees list, Mary and I were looking at them. I can plug in a lot of the trees that have the accurate coordinates to the GPS. I can plug them in really quickly just into my Civil 3D file system I have, and it'll geolocate the trees across the county. So it's easy for us to kind of go out and locate the trees. And maybe once we get all the trees located, I think that'd be a good database to kind of create for the in 10 years from now, people go back out and update things.
So something I would suggest, if that area is being considered to be a grove, would be to assign a number of trees limit on what that grove is. So in other words, there would only be so many trees that could be planted there before the grove is full.
Yeah, maybe we were just using the term grove incorrectly. I don't know. I guess it's up to interpretation what our plan was. It's kind of a rough plan right now. It doesn't need to be like a site that's receptive to future plantings necessarily. It could just be that we just planted a couple of trees because we wanted to memorialize Larry, and just leave it at that.
I would kind of agree with that, Joe, and there might be the opportunity in the future, but if CTC embarks on a maintenance agreement and takes responsibility, then there would be nothing that would preclude, even if it were not declared a memorial grove, there'd be nothing that would preclude us from planting if there was available space and a need at some point in the future, it seems like. So I don't think we'd be burning any bridges if we just right now deal with taking responsibility for the site, the maintenance responsibilities for the site, and moving ahead with the memorial plantings for Larry's trees.
Yeah, and Sean, I mean, I haven't seen the site yet. I'm really kind of curious to see what the space is like and really, I mean, I'm sure how much space and what a quote unquote grove might look like, but it might be good to just go out there and talk about it.
Sure thing, and I'd be glad to meet you out there whenever you want. I can send you this aerial view, just so you have a general idea. I sent it to Rodney. I'll forward that on to you. But sure thing. Yeah, let me know whenever.
And I just wanted to clarify something also on that note, that this area, the plot of land, landscape does not maintain anything there. So there's not already a standard set. Just say, I mean, it's a natural area. We do not do any maintenance. And if, just hypothetically, if you were to walk away from the maintenance agreement and were, not to take any more responsibility for the trees, we wouldn't go in there and assume it.
Right.
Just for clarity.
All right. Well, I think we've covered everything there. Back to you, Joe.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, we can continue this discussion next week during the work group time. Kind of start hammering out some more of these details and get more into the weeds on that. But yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction, and yeah, we'll continue to work on it. Thank you, Sean. Let's see. So now we're into the committee reports. So only really notification I have is we're officially in the second quarter. So welcome to quarter two. Let's go ahead and start with the promotions committee. Mary Attaway is not here. Do we have someone else here that would be willing to take on filling in the committee?
I can speak on Mary's behalf. Although we don't have a whole lot to report, we had tried to find some time to work on several items on our list. However, it's been a busy month, so we have not been able to do that. Last month, if you remember, we voted on, I believe it was $250 toward t-shirts. However, upon further investigation, Mary decided that the t-shirts were too expensive unless each individual committee member or council member wanted to purchase their own, with a portion of the $250 going to the overall cost. So I don't know if we need to vote on this or not. And I don't recall the exact wording of what we voted on, but we wanted to reallocate those funds to have brochures printed instead, because t-shirts aren't a huge priority at the moment anyway. And so, we could just use that money for something else, and maybe further down the road, discuss getting t-shirts printed. So again, I don't know if that's an action item necessarily, but we were going to work on brochures instead. And that's pretty much all I have. We still have work to do on the website. I know I need to get with Pam about changing the donations. It's really challenging, as I've mentioned in the past, to do that virtually. So hopefully, as more and more people get vaccinated, we can see each other in person and get some real work done. So here's to the future.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Yeah, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, I hope everybody knows that vaccinations are becoming more and more available in Athens. So yeah, I think there's a big round this weekend that went out at the Millage Avenue Baptist Church and a couple other places. So yeah, keep your ears to the ground about that. They're definitely becoming available. I don't know. It'd be great if we could meet in person. That would be awesome. So
How many people
yeah.
are fully vaccinated? I'm curious. How many people on the commission are fully? I am. We're getting there.
I'm half.
Soon, maybe in the fall, we can meet.
Halfway.
Yeah.
Just bring your passport with you, and if we have a quorum, go for it.
We could meet outside. That'd be nice.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. Yeah, I know in the beginning we kind of talked about the uncertainty of everything, and but yeah, that'd be really great to see you guys all in person again. It's been a while. So,
Could we tentatively try to meet in person outside for the next meeting? Is that possible, Rodney?
It's absolutely possible. Whatever the tree council decides it wants to do, it can do it.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, it would be just as simple as, making that decision and deciding where to meet, and then we just don't do the WebEx setup part of it.
And I make that a promotions committee action item that we vote on meeting in person next month, weather permitting.
Can I tack on like a kegger?
How are those rules going to change, Rodney? I mean, if you don't know, probably, but like, if we meet in person again, before when you met in person, you weren't filming it, were you?
No.
So if we meet in person, are we required to film it, or so I don't know, if that.
We just have to invite the public to it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like we would they'd be on the ACC website. Yeah.
Maybe some gray area there. I don't know how the county probably takes a risk standpoint of this, but probably.
Well, but I mean, how will they move away from? We don't know because we're not there yet. But I'd be curious to know how roll it out again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Rodney, I think you're on mute.
Thank you. So the thing about the meeting time and place is that it has to be posted in advance so that the public, the public can be able to attend the meeting. Online, the only way for the public to really be able to attend is to watch the YouTube link, and that's why it was set up that way. I do need to kind of backtrack just a little bit. Public information kind of likes things to be the same, month to month to month, so that there isn't confusion. So what I would recommend is if the tree council wants to start meeting in person, that the tree council is sure it wants to meet from now on in person. The meeting place has been pretty much assigned to be the planning office. Maybe the council could meet in the large, I'm certain we could meet in a large conference room for more social distancing, or perhaps we could meet outside by the planning office.
Aren't there a couple picnic tables down there behind the station?
I think there is a little space back behind the building. I haven't been in it yet, so I don't really know exactly what it looks like.
We could probably bring our own chairs.
I think the only concern I have with meeting in person is, I'd say, I think anybody that attends would have to be vaccinated fully. And then I think the only issue that I see is that this has to be open to the public. And so there's no way to control if unvaccinated public people were to come, how that would affect it. I know we're light at the end of the tunnel and everyone's optimistic and everything, but I'd hate to jump the gun too soon and have somebody catch it or bring somebody in that would bring it to the council. And I don't know, there's just some things to consider. I would guess that we're probably looking at Q3 before we're meeting in person personally, just to take a kind of a risk consideration standpoint with that. But I'm certainly open to discussion on that as well. I'm not gonna, bring down the iron fist and say, no, we can't, I think it's definitely a good discussion that we should have. But I think we just need to consider that there is that open to the public stipulation that we need to be considerate of as well. I don't know, Rodney, you have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that sounds like a solid train of thought for sure. It really is kind of up to what the members are comfortable with. And on this, I would feel more comfortable if almost everybody in the tree council is in agreement, and then I'd be happy with whatever. Yeah, it's really a matter of comfort level of what the members want to do, truly.
I know when we went virtual initially, it was because the world was on fire. Was there actually a county mandate that all public meetings be held virtually?
There wasn't a mandate in that way specifically, other than all public contact. Well, the in-person meetings were discontinued, so the WebEx was offered as an alternative.
Has the county lifted any of that? Do we know? Or I guess I would probably defer to county recommendations.
I can look into that. I can ask around and see what that is looking like for people. I'll follow up with it and
Okay.
if I can find out.
Well, not to beat the dead horse, but I agree with Joe. I think I am thrilled that we're now beginning to have this discussion. I think we may be rushing to judgment to make a decision quite yet, but I do think we ought to be finding out how we are going to get the information that tells us, yes, it's okay to begin using county facilities to have public meetings the way that we did in the past, and whether or not there's an arrangement so that this is going to happen in an orderly and progression toward doing that again. I know, I think my wife was telling me that the libraries have reopened now, the library system, and allowing the public to come in and actually physically handle books and check out books and do that sort of thing rather than the by appointment only type thing. So I think we're getting there. I don't have the information that says what the government's policy and approach is to how we're going to begin to ramp back up. It'd be good if we did know.
I think that's a good starting point. Find out, what the county's saying and definitely abide by those. So yeah, Rodney, thank you for looking into that, and we'll have an update, I guess, next meeting on that one, not sooner. So, all right. Jesse, was there any, I guess, with the t-shirt discussion, do we need to talk about, I guess, it sounds like it's pretty much just if the council wants to buy t-shirts for ourselves, is that kind of where it lies right now?
Yes, pretty much. I mean, we have the design. It was just going to be the logo. And I believe Mary had them priced out, but it was going to be, because of the small number, I mean, the more you order, the less expensive each individual shirt was, but I think they were going to be, $25 to $30 per shirt, because we weren't going to order 500 shirts. And so it was just, $200 to $250 wasn't going to get us very far. So, we can order shirts still. It would just, we would need to take orders from each individual council member, and everybody would pay for their own, essentially.
I think that sounds reasonable.
I think a better use of the funds would be, at this point, would just be to use them for some promotional material instead.
That makes sense. I guess maybe just kind of informally, maybe show of hands at that price point. Who's interested in getting a shirt just out of pocket? Okay. We got 5 people maybe. Is that right? So
we can revisit the idea, perhaps. I mean, it would be kind of fun once we are able to meet in person to have a group photo with everybody wearing their tree council shirt. So I think it's definitely something that we can talk about again.
That's awesome. I guess in the meantime, if you have a proof, would you mind sending that out? Mm-hmm. Everybody can kind of see what they look like.
I don't, but I think Mary does. I'll ask her to send that to everybody.
Okay.
And that way you guys could actually decide whether you want one or not.
Yeah.
Yes, Bill.
Do we need to go ahead and have a vote to free up those funds to be used for developing brochures and that sort of thing? If we do, maybe we could just have a motion right now and get that done.
I need to, let me look back at the March minutes and see what exactly we said the money was for.
Okay.
I have a.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I had a comment. I didn't mean to derail the, because you said those T-shirts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I am not a T-shirt fan at all. But one thing I was going to just make a comment, besides my selfish disinterest in T-shirts. So sometimes we're out and we do things, we're planting trees, or maybe we're at an event. What about a vest? Even a safety vest that had community tree council on it, that is something that would protect us, but also communicate who we were. So again, I'm not trying to derail your idea, but it's just a thought.
Yeah, well, I can look into pricing some of those instead of a t-shirt. Hats would be kind of a fun idea as well, although in my experience, they're a little bit more costly than shirts. But yeah, I mean, we could explore. I wish we had unlimited funds that we could just have all kinds of fun promotional items for the members, but I'll put together a cost for that as well.
I'd rather have a shirt than a hat.
I don't know where the information is available. At one point, about the time, probably ended shortly after I came onto the council, but we were being provided a name tag, a magnetically attachable name tag that you could put on your shirt pocket or whatever, that identified us by name and as a member of the Community Tree Council, which we were encouraged to wear to the tree fairs and things like that. And I agree with Holly. It would be handy to have something that's, particularly now that we're going door to door, for champion tree measurements and that sort of thing, to have something on our person that was identified us officially. That's totally aside from a recreational thing of a cap or a hat or a t-shirt, but it is something that we ought to think about at some point, perhaps.
Now, in my experience, those are cheap. Those would be cheaper than t-shirts, and we probably could get enough for everybody with the funds that we already have allocated. I mean, I think that's a great idea, Phil, of having name tags instead, and that way we can put the new logo on the name tag and have one for everybody at a fraction of the cost of like t-shirts would be.
And
that's a great idea.
The ones we had were really nice, very professional looking.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think, yeah. Jesse, if you want to get some pricing on that, maybe we can.
Okay. Yeah, let's we can hold off on officially voting on the reallocation of the money until I come back with some pricing at the next meeting, and then we can decide where we want to put that money toward.
Sounds great. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, Jesse. That's great. Let's go ahead and move into the policy committee. Let Mary Songster take it away.
Well, I'm sad that that Aaron stepped off because for this part, I'm coming up next after relying on him heavily to help me. I think Edith, you may be experiencing, but in looking at working up writings for planning or for the mayor and commission, like I go for a run, I have these great conversations, I have it all in my head, and when I go to write it, it is terrible. There's no way this is convincing. I ditch it. So I've so far ditched a bunch of stuff, but I have had great conversations, and the first working of the letter that I had as an advocacy letter was kind of just a general letter. And then it was for downtown trees generally, just to support them. And then they started the Clayton Street project, and that drastically changed the sort of visual information that people were having. And so I'm actually backing up the advocacy letter. I need something specific. Like if Rodney, if you're going to ask for money, or Jeannie is, or if Andrew is, and I've talked to Andrew, but not about this. I need to try to talk to him again about if to advocate for funds. Like it's really helpful if like sort of like grant writing, like for actually, reminding them of a specific thing that we think is important to support for that part. And so there's plenty of time for that. My goal is to develop essentially a template like we do for the grants. And then every year the Community Tree Council is going to ask the mayor and commission to remember that this portion of the community needs funding. And so, and hopefully geared towards what we're asking for that year. So that one made progress, and now I've backed down. And for the list for planning, I'm going to rely heavily on Aaron to help me. I'm now just going to throw all the spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. And then I'm going to send that to Aaron, and he's going to edit for me. That's where we are. And so if I don't know if you guys have on the advocacy planning list so far for this year, again, this is another thing I hope to establish as a kind of a constant thing, a constant communication that we would submit probably just annually, but that the CTC is constantly thinking of areas where we can see some small shifts or changes or improvements or progress, how we see that for the policy, for the tree policy. So the thing on the list right now is, and ask me if you want any additional explanation, but it's very wonky. So working on language for when tree waivers are given by the Planning Commission, sort of making that, updating that to include a fee, essentially. And I've been working with Aaron on that. And the next thing on the list is expand the tree bonus. So when you to include trees that are 75% to champion status. So if you are developing something and you have a champion tree and you keep it, you get an extra bonus for planting. It's and my language is rough here, so I know Rodney's going to be like, it's not exactly like that, but it's close. And so what I want to do is include large trees in that to be included in the bonus to encourage people to keep them when they develop or redevelop. And then I want to encourage planning to, as we go through the community and we decrease the parking minimums at that juncture, I want to increase planting tree areas. So those are coincide with each other to begin to give trees more dirt. And then the really big one is rethinking parking lot trees, which is really going to be painful, I have to say. For I think in what I've been looking at and the conversations I've had, that planting trees for shade is never going to be successful in any kind of meaningful way for either cars or for the trees. And so rethinking, and also as we move forward, we've just barely begun the discussion about, like, as we change our energy system and we start to include solar and other options more, reworking the idea of parking lot tree plantings, how that gets, when you redevelop, how it gets done, but to make it where you're putting the trees in one place, more trees in one place, so you don't have a bunch of little islands. It's not a bunch of polar bears on ice. It's like a larger area. So it's, anyways, that kind of idea, but making that something that moves forward so that it's more successful for the trees, gives them more dirt. It would actually be less concrete for the developer, and hopefully would allow for progressions like if there's solar panels in the parking lot or there's EV charging stations, it's not in competition with the trees. It's an asset. And so that's as far as I've gotten. And if y'all have anything that you want to look into, and this is, like I said, like I'm hoping to develop what would be a continually sort of revolving list, we can always start looking into these, looking how the community handles it. Is there a better way? That kind of thing. Please email me and let me know. I'll be happy to research anything. And that's all I have.
That's really cool. Yeah. You got a lot of, like, I'd say, way of the future kind of stuff there, stuff that I think a lot of, planning agencies need to be thinking about in terms of moving forward. Root soil volume is the next conversation that's been on the horizon. So I think that's definitely something we need to be thinking about. And then kind of challenging the status quo of new renewable energies and how those are going to relate with an ordinance that is 15 years old now. So yeah, I think I don't have much else to say on that other than I think it all sounds really interesting. Yeah, I think maybe folks that don't have the planning and development background, maybe I don't know, maybe just put it out to the council for kind of like a general review.
Yes.
Kind of get us to kind of see what
Definitely. Yeah. My goal is to have something that y'all can read, and that it would definitely be a goal, that something that is like digestible for anyone, that it would be something that's not just as wonky as it is right now. I no promises, but I definitely will need review and feedback and hope to have that, within a month or two.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff, and this is not necessarily our job per se, but the development ordinance is for money guys. Those of us that have worked in commercial site development and done projects in Athens, it's a numbers document as it stands. Kind of, it's how developers are going to see what they need to do. So I think maybe that's kind of a benefit that we have people on, we have a various range of people on this council that you know, it's designed so that anybody that wants to build can understand it. So I think that's a great exercise to make it digestible for a broad audience. I think that's kind of in our benefit. So yeah, I look forward to reading it and seeing what you've got. You've got some really interesting ideas. I guess anybody else have any?
I would say also, like, I would love it if people felt like more engaged to have an opinion for the mayor and commission on these things that you value, and to sort of demystify the process a little bit, so that you can have an opinion and express that, and it can promote change. You don't have to write it into policy 100%. There's plenty of really smart people that do that, like Aaron.
That's right. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of the beauty of this too, is that, you know, it's written, our role as the council is, you know, advisory in nature. We're not saying this needs to be the law. We're saying this is the way of the future. You know, this is what tree experts feel is important. And, you know, these are the concepts. Y'all, you know, here's how we can advise you on how to keep this ordinance current, you know, and prepare for the future. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, that's an
Anybody else
excellent
have-
point. That's an excellent point also, like all of this that we write and present to planning, literally, they just take it under advisement. So we are really literally just giving them our opinion, and either they will value it or not value it, but I think it's really important that we give them our opinion.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. Anybody have anything else to weigh in on the policy comments? All right. Well, awesome. Yeah, thank you for putting that together. It's exciting stuff. I guess let's go ahead and let's do the education committee. Edith, I'll let you take it away.
Hi, I realize we're all about to turn into pumpkins, so I'll be quick. The main thing that happened this month was that the application went to Leisure Services for the tree ID on the Greenway, with the primary date being October 30th and an alternate date being October 9th. We have not discussed this in Education Committee yet, or with the Winterville Tree Council, which has offered to partner with us. So, you know, there might be some discussion we need to have about flipping those dates if that's really viable. The other thing that was that came up, you know, and nothing's ever simple, was that there's some liability issues involved with this, and I know that Athens-Clarke County and nonprofits do events all the time. So I was wondering who to best address this with the county. Like, we're supposed to have a certificate of insurance. I know Stacy has a lot of experience with this, but she had to leave. So I guess this is something that we could just handle by email, probably.
Yeah, Pam got us some insurance for the last event we did.
Yeah.
Which was that? What event was that? That was the Tree City USA / Firefly planting.
Something like that. Or MLK Day, I don't remember which.
I think it was MLK. Yeah, Patrick.
Joe, yeah, hey guys, yeah, the insurance is really easy. I was talking to an insurance agent lately about that for something myself I was working on, and it's just like a special event insurance. Whenever we do a special event, it's really easy. They can do that process that like in a day. It's just something we just fill out a form, you know, let them know how many people we're going to be there and everything and what's going to be.
I can usually get it in like 10 minutes online.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, just
Edith, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Holly.
I thought we were done talking about insurance. I'll add something after that.
Yeah, I was just saying, Edith, you can definitely lean on Pam and Patrick on that one.
Okay.
I was just going to say to the Education Committee, and I apologize, I wasn't able to join last month, but I was able to walk out the trail, and
Oh, good.
there's probably about 30 or 40 species there that could be interesting.
Uh-huh.
So I was just going to add that. I do have a list, and I'll put it on a spreadsheet.
Do you think if you could pick a time, do you think October 9th or October 30th would be better?
I think October 9th would be better, just because it's more likely that there'll be more leaves on the trees, and we'll be hitting kind of the early fall change. October 30th starts to get a little more iffy, so I would choose just slightly earlier, and then the weather would start changing a little bit too.
So, and we'll take up that discussion with the Winterville Tree Council, because they had agreed to partner with us for the 30th, but plans change. So we can discuss more of this next week and, you know, flesh out more of the details. There was also the question about one of the trails flooding periodically and having a plan B. So I think we need to take a look at that.
Yeah, you know, down where it floods, I didn't really see a lot of interesting species down there, so that might be a moot point because we may not end up going down there anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other suggestion I have on scheduling is now that we're starting to talk about in-person meetings and events and things, is it's Athens, Georgia, and football season too. So definitely look at that football schedule. And
That's
see.
why October 9th was chosen. I think we play out of town
Okay.
at Auburn. So the other was the 30th was the Georgia-Florida game.
Yep. Yep.
Both of those are away dates.
Perfect. Good deal. All right. Well, yeah, that sounds very exciting. Looking forward to doing that. It'll be a lot of fun. So, is there anything else you need from the council in terms of planning that event?
I think that's it at this moment. There was just really advice about the liability issues, but I'm you know, confident we can work that out.
Fantastic. Let's see. It looks like you have a spring event potentially in the mix.
Well, we'd volunteered to partner with anyone for the 22nd, and no one's taken us up on our offer. So I don't have anything to report on that, really.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, yeah. I guess I'll make it brief. It's 5:36. I just want to say thanks everybody for coming out, and yeah, we'll plan on seeing you guys next Monday for our 5-hour block of time for the work group and committee meetings. So we'll send you out some information on that shortly. Appreciate it, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.